ready? Are you ready? Because it's coming. Because once these right here shut down all the way, then there's no more leaving. And when you can't leave, you can't run. See, because we have, military along the borders. And you're not going to be able to escape through those. And once all of the airports are shut down, well, you're not going anywhere there either. And when all the airports are shut down, then the only thing in the skies, well, it's going to be the military. And we already see the distribution of the National Guard through a handful of states. So if you're on the naughty list, you old greasy, dirty, swampy politicians, well, I hope you're ready, because they're coming.
Hey, black people, low-key, I think they're gonna try to stage some shit. I think Stephen Miller, that little racist prick in the White House, I think they're gonna stage like a shooting against the military. Like 3 black guys was shooting at the military. They're gonna try to stage some shit. They did it before. They know how to stage shit and make shit look real. And then they're gonna pay all the news people to put it out there. And then the military guys gonna be fooled into thinking that black people are shooting at them. It's gonna be all scripted and staged. They're gonna pay a couple of poor black guys to be the fall men. They thinking they gonna get paid, but they probably really get unalived. He did it before. Poor white guy. But that's how it's gonna happen, because we're not out there marching. We're not out there mad. We're not angry. So there's nobody heads to bust for the military. And he only doing that with the military because he trying to see. This a trial run. See what they obey him. You know what I mean? The mustache man did it when he sent them to Poland. He's just trying to see how far he can go. If they obey me, then we got this motherfucker. That's how he talking. So black people, be aware. If you being offered some bread to do this, don't fucking take it, because you ain't gonna get your money. You're gonna get out alive. But I think he's gonna try to stage some shit. We're too quiet. They freaking out. Let's keep this energy. We just gonna play it out, man. See how far this man take this. But I think we're gonna have to get ready for war. I think we are.
They're using immigration as a pretext, exactly the fuck like I said they would do. This is why we said citizenship is on the ballot. They chose 10 p.m. because that is where you have maximum occupancy in a residential building. To come in there, no fucking warrants. So the due process shit is out the window. You're supposed to have probable cause to enter a person's home. All that shit's out the window now. This is an attack on our communities, on black people. To separate children, to zip tie children, that is barbaric behavior. And this is why you can't only care about citizens and, well, that's how they treat immigrants. Because they don't give a fuck about your citizenship or your humanity. So they are traumatizing people. They are terrorizing people. And they are detaining people overnight. This is a school night. You have children separated from their parents. And like I said, with these checkpoints, remember we talked about the checkpoints in D.C. and they're supposedly ICE checkpoints. But remember how I also pointed out that if they are running background checks on you. They're not just checking, oh, okay, you got your real ID, you a citizen, oh, you got your birth certificate, okay. No, they are hunting for reasons to incarcerate Black people. They don't see you as a person they have to do their due diligence for. When they make a mistake, they do not take any kind of efforts to rectify it. The property damage that they did, they're not going to come and say, oh, okay, well, here's the check, here you go. No, they go, y'all ass out. So they destroy the property, they take things. That's now left for these residents to be burdened with. These are people's homes at 10 o'clock at night. What kind of urgent law enforcement business is needed for an entire building? This is like when Nino Brown took over the motherfucking projects. I forget the name of it, the building.
In New Jack City.
In New Jack, this is Jack City shit. But this is real life. This is real fucking life. And there is unchecked power. With that being said, I said in 2023, when I was on Chicago radio, and I mentioned this earlier this week,
Yes, you did.
thing I heard on the radio, trans immigrant. We have to be careful about taking political action that we think is punishing the they, them, the others, because you should always know that shit is going to boomerang right the fuck back on us.
The Broadview ICE facility is staying open. That is despite several reports over the weekend that it was shutting down.
A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson told Fox 32 any claims of the facility closing are false, adding that, and this is their words, rioters, sanctuary politicians as they called them, have obstructed law enforcement, they say, by throwing tear gas, rocks, and bottles, and blocking the building's entrance, and also trespassing on private property. The facility is the primary immigrant processing center here in the Chicago area.
Catch the latest on this story at Fox 32 on Fox Local.
There's a reason Arctic natives just call cold plunges plunges.
Get inside the animal. It's a blanket.
Just like
Suburb of Chicago has become the latest flashpoint in a much wider political battle over immigration enforcement and the limits of the federal government's power. Protests outside this ICE facility have become a regular occurrence, and late Saturday ended in arrests after state police ordered protesters to leave.
They told us we had to move, we had to disperse. They gave us a warning about 3 minutes ago that they're going to start throwing tear gas.
It was protecting facilities like this that was used by the Trump administration as a pretext for sending federally controlled National Guard troops to mainly Democrat-run cities. On Saturday, a federal court of appeal rejected the Trump administration's request to allow the deployment of troops, upholding a lower court's decision blocking that move, at least temporarily.
Nobody in their right mind thinks that it's appropriate for a president of the United States in this regard to send troops to federalize National Guard and send them into American cities. I don't think any of us want to see American cities occupied by federal troops.
The upheld ruling from the lower court found that the Trump administration violated the 10th Amendment, which delegates certain powers to states, and the 14th Amendment, which assures due process and equal protection.
The Trump administration making good on its promise to bring a show of force to the Chicago area. We have been seeing federal agents and officers operating very visibly on the streets in recent days. Now, one of those instances was outside of a shelter in the Bronzeville area, and these individuals actually showed up there. Border Patrol was there across the street for a targeted enforcement operation. Had nothing to do with the shelter, but when they got there, these individuals ran from the shelter. 3 of them were arrested, according to our sources. Now, we were also there in another show of force where they actually descended into the South Shore neighborhood at an apartment complex where suspected Tren de Aragua members were living and operating. We know at least 37 illegal immigrants are arrested in that operation. Chief Gregory Bovino says it was a success.
They trained for this operation for several days, and because of that training and those rehearsals that they did, this operation went very smoothly. They went through that structure, which is a very large structure. You can see it's 5 stories. They went through that structure a lot quicker than I thought, and several apprehensions. It looks like we have a couple of potential targets. We're glad to be here in Chicago. This is South Chicago. You're going to see some more here in South Chicago. We're going to be coming back here in all areas of Chicago. We're not going anywhere. You're going to see all the Border Patrol agents, all several hundred of us, as well as those allied law enforcement agencies. We're going to be taking it to those violent gang members and illegal aliens.
Now, when it comes to the deployment of National Guard soldiers, we can expect around 100 troops to show up in the Chicago area any day now. The Pentagon saying they did receive a request from DHS, and they're figuring out when that deployment might be. Governor Pritzker condemning that move, saying it's not helping keep the community safer.
The president is likely to keep the militarization going. He can do that because there are emergency personnel and military personnel that he can keep on the job.
This all comes as protests continue down the streets of Chicago and also at the Broadview ICE facility, where they're expected once again on Friday throughout the day.